Afternoon, guys. Today we're going to talk about prison. I have had several people over the course of the last few years try and impress me on social media by saying things like, "You don't want to fuck with me, I've been in prison." Well, number one, the fact that you were in prison does not impress me at all. Nor does that in any way make you tough. No, I have not been to prison, and I wouldn't brag about it if I was. You bragging about being in prison tells me that you probably got turned out in prison. You probably wore a little bit of Kool-Aid lipstick in prison. In other words, you were probably somebody's punk. Otherwise, when you were out of prison, you would not brag about how tough you are because you were in prison. Okay? Because you would not do that in prison. I have been able to actually verify one person's claim of being in prison. This was a gentleman, I can't remember his name, but he used his legit name on YouTube and said I didn't want to mess with him because he'd been to prison. And then he told me he was going to come to Dallas and fuck me up and everything else. So I decided, you know what, Larry, I better look this guy up. And sure enough, he had been in prison. He had multiple charges for assault on women, harassing women, stalking women. It was always the same thing, and he had, 15 different mugshots. He'd been arrested vigorously and repeatedly. He was in his mid-40s by the time he was saying all this stupid stuff. So, and he also had several pictures and videos of himself with this imaginary lat syndrome going on, which I just find hilarious. But I looked at his mugshots and looked at his records, and he was listed as 5'5" and 140 pounds. Which, I'm not saying somebody that size can't be tough. There are some guys that size that are tough as nails. However, when you're trying to convince me of how tough you are because you went to prison and your charges routinely consist of assault and battery on a female, harassing a female, stalking a female, yeah, I'm not convinced you're that tough, buddy. And also, those are the kind of charges that'll get you smashed on sight in prison. So, like I said, if you've been to prison, I think you probably know it's not something you really brag about. And if you act like a tough guy when you get out of prison, it means you weren't very tough in prison. So, anyway, if anyone has any thoughts or comments, this is definitely going on YouTube. If you've been in prison, don't try to impress me with your prison record. You will fail miserably. All right, guys. Peace.